Hi, Dan.
Hi, Nick. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. You?
I'm great, thanks. To be honest, I'm pretty excited as we're launching our Patreon over the next week.
Yes, what an absolute treat to start 2023 with. I'll tell you what, though, before we start, I'm parched. Do you have any drinks?
I don't. But our listeners could treat us to a dandelion and burdock every month to keep us hydrated for the podcast.
Sounds good, but what would they get out of it?
Well, for just £3 a month, they could get a full video episode with behind-the-scenes preamble and post-show chat every week. And let me tell you, that's
Wow.
usually a real treat.
That sounds like a real treat. That sounds awesome. I'm well up for that, but I don't need to because I'm involved. I don't need to pay.
No, but they'd get that a day earlier than everybody else with release on a Tuesday.
Surely, in that case, they'd also get the podcast version a day earlier as well.
Absolutely.
I'm concerned now we've become sellouts and decide to have adverts featured on the podcast. People will come for us with pitchforks.
Well, in this tier, they'd get the episode ad-free.
Excellent. Surely they can't get anything else in this tier.
Not really. Only an extra wrap-up podcast at the end of each season where we watch interviews and performances from the era we've discussed, and one watch-along episode a month where we'll watch and discuss a classic gig, film, or anything Arctic Monkeys related.
What, like Glasgow 2013, Live at the Apollo, Scummy Man, or Submarine?
Yeah, exactly. And there's so many more. But I'm not done yet. We'll also be putting out special birthday party episodes on each band member and associated band members' birthdays. And do you know what's good about that?
What's good about that?
Alex's is the 6th of January.
Amazing. Sounds like that'd be a great date to launch the Patreon then, with an Alex Turner birthday party episode ready and waiting for our patrons.
As always, Nick, you read my mind.
It's an amazing tier. And again, you get all that for just £3 a month.
Yep.
I don't see what else the next tier could possibly offer on top of that.
Well, if you're now well hydrated and you fancy grabbing a pint with me, our listeners can treat us to one in our local, the Cornerstone.
I'll be there in 10 minutes.
For just £5 a month, our listeners can access our Cornerstone tier and get all the great features already referenced on the previous tier. Plus, and I'm excited about this,
I'm on tenterhooks here. Or rusty hooks, as it were.
Nice. Well, our Cornerstone patrons will also get a monthly Last Shadow Puppets podcast where we'll do a deep dive into a track from the beginning of the catalogue all the way to the end.
Amazing. B-sides and all.
B-sides and all.
Wow, that's just outstanding. So all the previous features and the Shadow Puppets pod. Incredible.
Well, also, each subscriber gets to pick any song from any band or artist that doesn't feature an Arctic Monkeys member in the act or production, and we'll put the songs into a prize draw once a month. So, for example, you might pick Thank You Next by Ariana Grande. The winning subscriber will get a podcast in our format on that song. They'll stay in the prize draw until they win, and will refresh annually.
This all sounds amazing. Well, apart from the Ariana Grande bit, but yeah, that's a me issue. So, we're launching on Alex's birthday?
Yes, on the 6th of January, come to our Linktree or socials to access Patreon, where you can choose your tier of choice. Once you've signed up, you'll immediately start seeing the benefits with the Alex Turner birthday party episode.
This is all very exciting.
Isn't it just?
Well, we hope you're all as excited as we are and can help support us throughout 2023 and beyond. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
We're Arctic Monkeys. This is Don't Believe the Hype.
That rock and roll, eh? Ladies! That sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question.
Cheers, dude.
That man just yawned. We're going to call it,
Don't Believe the Hype.
Hello and welcome to the podcast once described as not as bad as some podcasts. So, bonus, we'll take that. Yes, this is Don't Believe the Hype, where we take a weekly look back at the entire discography of Arctic Monkeys with myself, Nick Lee, and of course, my sleepy amigo. It's Dan Holt. Dan, how you doing, man? You good?
I am fantastic. Yes, I've had a good week in between, and yeah, we're raring to go. Actually, I will say this because I don't know, but we had a week off, and I have thoroughly missed it, actually. So I'm glad to be back.
Same.
Glad to be here.
Same. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. A week off recording. But we did have the Jules Holland special during
yeah.
this week, which was kind of, I
Lovely.
can't wait for the
And the Rio,
episode
which
of
was Rio was like a televised gig as well, wasn't it? So
yeah,
that was good.
yeah,
I thought when I clicked on it, I thought it was going to be someone's mobile for an hour and a half, and then I saw it was a proper thing. I was like, oh,
same,
lovely.
yeah.
Yeah, some interesting. I think Evermore is listeners from our car reaction podcast. Your comment that this is like 2 albums where the songs live are going to be a different to the a different experience, and that was ever more present in that Jules Holland, I'd say, with the car, for example. But I did also I did think when I was watching it, when the Helders was talking about the Miss Dynamite thing, I was like, nah, we covered this. Old news, Jules. We did this weeks ago.
Mate, God, Jules, get back with Squeeze. No one's interested. We've kind of reached a point now where we've had the live version of Sculptures Anything Goes. So I'm kind of the opinion that everything before that was a mistake. And now this is the new world where we have a live version of Sculptures of Anything Goes, and it's the best thing ever.
Yeah, and I think I'm struggling, like, because you predicted that would be one they wouldn't play live, if you recall, and I'm thinking the ones that aren't going to make. I think Jet Skis on the Moat will lose out to the live performances, I reckon.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that. Yeah,
but I think the car, Mr. Schwartz, are going to be in there. I hope Big Ideas is in there. I think it's hard, man, because I'd be surprised if they just cut out like Hello You and Big Ideas, and I don't know, maybe Perfect Sense will get cut as well, because it's kind of an album closer, maybe not like a big live song. I don't know, but I think Jet Skis on the Moat will be a definite goner. But I say
the thing is,
I don't know.
As we discussed on WhatsApp last week as well, we felt that Big Ideas would also be a very good album closer. So maybe that would be the reason for Perfect Sense missing out.
Yeah, there was part of me that wants that to be the album closer, but then I quickly retracted that because I think I was listening to the album and it got to Perfect Sense, and I was like, you know what I found? It makes
perfect sense, you could say.
It makes perfect sense. Oh, those rascals, they've done it again. The one that was the first time I listened to it where it kind of all did, I'm gonna keep saying it makes sense, that order, because I think I was in a dark room with some headphones and it was like midnight, 1 a.m, and I just thought, I'm just gonna listen to it, just sit on the couch on my own and close it. Oh, they put the lyrics on Spotify, so I was reading the lyrics as it was playing, so I could visualize them better. And I thought that's when it clicked, and I was like, no, actually, it does work in this. Does work like this. So I feel like it's one of those albums where it's a very on your own late night, not in a sexy way like I am, but in a sort of just chilling, before you go to bed. Nice little vibe.
It's kind of the after party song and after party album, isn't it? It's just kind of like let's just all chill out and have a smoke, yeah. Right, guys?
Someone into an early hot take there, where you could say that AM is the party, and Tranquility was like the morning after, because it's like dancing in my underpants, gotta run for government, like sort of early morning hours before you go to bed when you're sort of pissed or whatever, and then the new one's like the hangover day, the relaxation that come down. That's what you're looking at.
It all melds together.
What we actually might have just described there in those 3 albums, because we're a similar age to the band, I think what we just accidentally described as being 25 to 28, and then being 28 to 32, and then being 32 to 35 is those 3 albums as well. That's the same thing. It's party, still a little bit tipsy in your underpants, and then just mellowed out and relaxed. That's our life cycle.
Yes. And for more of that type of insight, do not forget we have got our special The Car Reaction podcast that's available on YouTube for that one, and it is also available in
Seals.
Usual places. Your Seals, which but don't worry, the audio version is still there. The audio version is okay if you don't want to see us. That's fine. So you can get all that in the don't panic. You can get all that in the episode description on your podcast player du jour. You can click on that, the little link tree there, and everything's there, isn't it?
Yeah, and we do have a TikTok now. Just get that out there. It's just we'll add that to the link tree, but it's just at Arctic Podcast. Very simple. And if you want to find us on YouTube, actually, you can just, because YouTube have introduced handles now, so you can just go on at Arctic Podcast on YouTube as well. I created it, so even easier. It's the same art for everything. So just liking them all. Liking them all.
Yes, it does massively help us. If people do the like us, review us, rate us, it helps push us up the. I've not looked at the charts for years, the music charts or the podcast charts. So
is there a music podcast chart? Because we could get up that maybe. Because I don't see many music podcasts at all. So we might be the only one.
It was a little presumptuous of me, but I put music/comedy because I thought, okay.
Well, I think we lived up to that, to be honest.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you?
Email in if you disagree.
Email in if you disagree at arcticmonkeyspodcast@gmail.com. And make sure to follow, if only to get wind of the Patreon, which is coming soon. We're just finalising what the rewards will be and what the tiers will be, but we will have a Patreon launching probably in the next few weeks, I'd imagine. Probably fewer, sooner than that, I reckon. But we're getting
we just
there
need
with
to
that.
finalise it. In fact, we might finalise it tomorrow afternoon over a pint. Oh,
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
That sounds like a plan. That I'll bring my laptop, and you can bring a pen.
I'll bring my laptop and my dog, and
we'll have to go somewhere with charging ports though, because my laptop has a terrible battery. So that's something to look forward to. And
there's a few. Nearly said where then. I don't want these scumbags knowing where I live. I'm joking.
If you want Dan's address, subscribe to the Patreon now.
I love you
a month
all.
will get you access to Dan's Ring doorbell.
You're welcome anytime. Come and stay with me. Oh, I'm never going to get that lyric right. I had another opportunity then, and I'm just never going to...
This has become like an accidental running... When we planned this, and we thought, it'd be nice to have some running jokes that only both of our fans would get. But we've got more than 2 fans.
Got away from us.
It has indeed.
Running jokes got away from us.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. It's too early.
Get to the intro.
You'll find out what soon. So yeah, you just had some impromptu chat about the car there, listeners. But we are bringing it back this week, are we not? And what is our song of choice?
It is
our choice.
No, it's the Arctic Monkeys' choice of number 6 on the album, which was "Still Take You Home." And what a tune it is!
What a tune it is, and you can hear it forthwith.
You're all tired up, but you don't look the same. Well, I assisted last year. Yeah, surprisingly, you forgot my name, but you know it. Yeah, you knew it all.
So that was taken from Arctic Monkeys live at the Apollo, Manchester Apollo, our home city. That was released in 2008 on DVD. It was the final concert of their... It's released in 2008, but it was the final concert of their 2007 World Tour, filmed at the Manchester Apollo, England, and it was directed by one of our favourite people, Richard Ayoade. We're going to be late, Robbie. If you got that, we like you. You can stay.
Legend of British comedy. Or actually, one of my favourite, Garth Marenghi's Dark Place is my favourite Richard Ayoade performance. And if you get that, then you're a very special listener to the show. And that is a niche sitcom.
Also the director of Submarine as well, which we will be getting to on Patreon.
Starring a laboratory-grown clone of Alex Turner that went a bit wrong at the end, but
the Petri dish Alex Turner. yes, indeed.
And of course, as we addressed in our first podcast, that we didn't go to that gig, even though, because I feel like we should flesh it out a little bit so people understand the sorrow that we feel. To quote David Bowie, we went to see them at an establishment called the G-Mex in Manchester, which is just an old train station. And this was on the Wednesday night, I think. And then I think they released tickets to that on like the Friday or something. And we were working at a supermarket, and we made the executive decision that because we'd just seen them, we thought, well, let's see them again. Like, we love them, but it's a Monday night. We got to work. We'd have to get off work. We got to buy it, spend the money on the tickets. You know, we were students then. And we didn't go because we thought it's not like it's going to be televised and be one of the best gigs ever. And like, we're going to have to see that all the time as one of the gigs that we could have gone to and missed, is it? It's just going to be another gig.
Just having it thrown in our face while researching clips for this. So upsetting. So this is the point of the show where, well, we like to call it the information action ratio. I don't know where we came up with that name. It's just another example of us letting the jingles dictate.
It's a big idea.
The show. I'm saving it.
The information action ratio is the place to go.
Still Take You Home is the 6th track on the first album, coming in at 2 minutes 53 seconds with 44.5 million streams on Spotify, making it one of the lesser streamed tracks from this album, which surprised me slightly, but more discussion on that later. It has 109 beats per minute, and again, according to our friends at tunebat.com, it has an energy score of 95, a danceability score of 60, and a happiness score of 65. Now, I decided to delve into these nonsense rating systems to see what the hell it was all about. So, an energy score is rated depending on how intense and active a track is based on general entropy, onset rate, timbre, perceived loudness, and dynamic range. How appropriate the track is for dancing is based on overall regularity, beat strength, rhythm stability, and tempo. And happiness is simply rated on the metric of how cheerful the song is. So 2 of those sounded like quite technical in how they approach those ratings based on the actual music. Could still be nonsense, but it sounds accurate. But the happiness one still sounds like a load of old shite. The song is in the key of A major.
Wrong key, though.
Other key tracks in A major are Juicy by Notorious B.I.G., I Want It That Way by Backstreet Boys. Both of those songs are potentially inspiration for tracks on AM. And Enemy of the Show, Alan Wilder's band Depeche Mode with Everything Counts. The track has been played live 475 times, first at the Charlotte Leicester on May 27th, 2005, and last played at the Orion Music and More Festival on June 23rd, 2012. The Orion Music and More was a touring music festival created by American thrash heavy metal band Metallica, held at Bader Field near Atlantic City in New Jersey. Metallica drummer Lars Ulrich has described Arctic Monkeys as a heavy metal band disguised as an indie band. The drummer then compared the Monkeys to Canadian prog behemoths Rush, adding, if you listen to a song like Perhaps Vampires is a bit strong, but there's almost a Rush element in there. So here's a clip of Rush playing Tom Sawyer live.
Fucking love that band.
I can actually see what he's getting. I can actually see what he's getting at as well in terms of something like vampires and and maybe we'll have a bit of chat on the whole him saying they're a heavy metal band in disguise in a bit. But here's a clip of Lars Ulrich himself introducing the band at the festival.
But this is kind of a dream come true, and this makes me look really good in my son's eyes, because somewhere out here he's an even bigger Arctic Monkeys fan than I am. So please help me give it the fuck up for the coolest of the cool from somewhere in Sheffield, from what would I say, from under the rubble in front of the Ritz. There you go, the Arctic Monkeys.
No, he did a good job there.
Back on this album, under the rubble in front of the Ritz.
He did a good old Lars. Nice effort. So I was interested in the set list that Arctic Monkeys picked, with this being a predominantly heavy metal festival. So Nick, can you guess that entire set list in order? No, I'm joking. Can you guess what that would be mental. Can you guess what they opened and closed with? And you might even say that this is a bit of a bonus round.
That sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question.
A new jingle. A new jingle. And a clip-heavy show, a very clip-heavy show today, folks. So yeah, Nick, could you hazard a guess as to what? So the festival was in. I'll give you the year again, just in case you missed it. 2012. What they might have opened and closed with in a set, primarily where they know the audience are going to be heavy metal fans.
Well, I think they'd have opened with Brainstorm. Would that be correct?
Ding ding, correct.
Brilliant. Oh, I'm delighted with that. I'm made up with that, and I'm guessing I'm assuming the closer didn't fit that theme. I'm assuming the closer would have been 505 at that time.
There's a reason why you're not gonna get this. I think I want you to remember. In fact, if I say this, you're gonna get it. So do you want to have another guess before? There's no way I can say it without you just knowing what I'm saying. Bearing in mind, stay on the heavy metal theme. So 505 wouldn't really, They didn't play 505.
So they carried on with the heavy metal theme for the closer as well.
For as close as you can. I mean, obviously none of the songs are heavy metal, unless you have large.
Did we have Are You Mine at this point?
We did have Are You Mine at this point because they released it
Is that the
before
answer?
AM, didn't they? Ding ding, that is the answer.
Okay.
Yes, Are You Mine? They open with. Do you hazard a guess at any other tracks? Just a couple that you might think are on there before I read the whole thing.
What was Still Take You Home in there at that point?
It was, which is why. Well, we know it was because I read that it was played live last at this gig. That's how we got here. Wheels within wheels, Nick. You're revealing my process.
Wait till I find out how sausages are made.
Yeah, dog turds. It was so it was Brian Storm, This House is a Circus, Still Take You Home, Library Pictures, Don't Sit Down Because I've Moved Your Chair, The View from the Afternoon, Dance Floor, Pretty Visitors, Do Me a Favor, Teddy Picker, Crying Lightning, If You Were There Beware, Snuck In Fluorescent Adolescent, Evil Twin, would you believe, Nicholas? Yeah, I knew you.
Oh my word!
Brick by Brick, and then Are You Mine? So they very much, apart from Fluorescent Adolescent and Do Me a Favor, goes kind of there, doesn't it? But they very much
Possibly a
very much
contender
stuck
for
to
the
it.
greatest ever set list there.
It's a good one,
That's
isn't it?
up
When I
there.
looked at it, if you wanted to just have a cracking, full on fast gig, that would be probably the songs because there aren't many. Yeah, there isn't really that many fast ones on AM in terms of maybe like Snap Out of It's kind of fast. I Want It All is quite fast, isn't it? But there's not like fast songs, so that's probably the best you're gonna get in it. The best a fan can get. So yeah, now could you suggest any though to it? I had a suggestion for what could have gone in it. Well, two suggestions. Pretty much like most Humbug B-side. So I would have thought Frightline Dining Room would have been a good one for this gig. I think heavy metal fans would have been maybe shocked by that one. I think they could have got a couple more. Like they brought Potion of Poaching back recently, but they could have got that in there probably as well. I think. Yeah.
I would have suggested If You Were There Beware, and it was there.
Yeah,
it was there, and people were aware.
It's a cracking set list, that, isn't it? Yeah, and Pretty Visitors as well, Crying Lightning, yeah. I bet there was people in the crowd who thought, why the fuck I remember at the time people were shocked, like, why are Arctic Monkeys doing a Metallica festival? And it's because Lars loves them, and his son, obviously, apparently. But
Which was news to me ahead of the show.
Yeah, I remember it being pretty big at the time, but for an obsessive like me, it was pretty big at the time. But Pretty Visitors must have been like, I would have thought if you're going skeptical as a heavy metal fan, thinking, why are Arctic Monkeys playing this? And then you hear something like Pretty Visitors, and you probably think, oh, actually, this is up our street, maybe, you know what I mean, if you give it a chance. But yes, we will move on from that, but excellent set list. So I'll continue with the information. A website called Personality Database, which seemingly classifies the fictional characters represented in songs by their personality type, seems like a worthwhile pursuit, classified this as a ESTP choleric dominant profile. The choleric sanguine has a natural drive to quickly get results. They are goal and bottom line orientated and can be very persuasive in promoting their ideas and goals. They are easily annoyed when others do not comply with their instructions or direction, but it passes quickly aroused, easily calmed. They are not angry, although others at times think they are furious. They are impatient and will push others to obtain results and be productive. Well, I think I just inadvertently diagnosed myself there, to be honest, by reading that. But to be fair, that probably does represent the character in this track. Don't know why someone feels the need to diagnose that, but hey, someone has. Fun fact in-house, when me and Nicholas attended the Lancashire Cricket Club gigs in Manchester in 2007, after Still Take You Home, somebody threw a miniature bottle of Bell's whiskey on the stage, and upon inspection, Alex remarked, "How polite." So I don't know what accent that was. It was an accent. It was an attempt at an accent.
This is Welsh.
Yeah. How polite. Sounds more like the bird from Bird. But what year is it, Dan? 1965. Where'd that come from? The girl from Sasha Fingy from the When the Sun Goes Down video. Something more like her. Oh, she is from Sheffield, isn't she?
Nottingham, Lauren Sasha. Yeah.
Is she? Oh, okay. So I was way off.
Hence Shane Meadows wanting to work with her.
I went to Nottingham once to Rock City, and there was a Hooters there which was a surprise.
Yes, there is, yeah.
Interested
Yeah, it's a
evening
shame, innit?
is all I'll say.
Yeah.
No more to be said. We went to see the Maccabees perform what I thought was an excellent album called "Given to the Wild," which was a
Great album.
cracking album. They peaked at that. They had to vanish forever after that. Couldn't get better than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. But anyway, yeah, back to Arctic Monkeys, obviously. So yeah, I don't know if you remember that happening, but it did happen. And again, another gig that we went to in 2007. So maybe that's another reason why we didn't go to live at the Apollo. Thinking on it, because we had seen them twice already in a short space of time. So Jamie Cook on the electric guitar, ladies and gentlemen, is credited with a co-writing credit on this one with Alex. He apparently inspired the tale of the song, and it is told through Jamie's POV. So there you go. Jamie also has a writing credit for one other Arctic Monkeys song. Nick, can you name that song? And it's probably another bonus round, to be honest.
That sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question.
Has he got one on Sculptures?
Oh, well, I mean, pre the car. Sorry, I should have specified that.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, this is is it an album track or is it a B-side?
an album track.
I don't. Oh, I know.
When I say writing track, I mean lyrics, not not
I
music.
know it. I know it. I'm just going to sing it in my head to work out what song it is.
Excellent content. A man
Look,
thinks
this is
something in his
getting
head. No, keep this in. I'll just keep talking.
Right,
Nick is thinking. He's singing in his head, miming it. He's got a piece of paper out, I think, and a pen.
It's from Tranquility. Am I right? It's Tranquility Based Hotel and Casino, isn't it? Didn't he come up with "Kiss Me Underneath the Moon's Side Boob"?
Oh, he did do that, but I don't think he got credited on that, so it's not that. But that's a very good answer. So, you know,
credit.
A for effort on the answer, though. Very good knowledge there.
Thanks,
But
mate. That's
maybe
good,
he
that's
did,
good
but
of
I read this was the only one that had one, but this may not have spanned further past than the second album, what I was reading this on, so we'll see. But the song that other song that he has a writing credit on in the early career of Arctic Monkeys is The Bad Thing.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
That was going to be my
for
next guess
CV.
as well. But...
It's a good
Keep
job
that
he's
one
got this one too. So yeah. But I want you to keep all that generous amount of time I allowed you to answer that. Then I want people to know what a nice, generous human being I am. But that is the end of the information, and I can now move on to the reviews. Again, fairly sparse reviews available on this one, but Billboard.com, who referred to the album as everything people say that's what I'm not, which seems like a huge mistake for the Billboard site to make. And I can't find any record of it being changed to that in the US, and I've never heard any like American YouTubers or anybody refer to it as that. So I guess it was just a mistake. If we're wrong, let us know. But I wouldn't see the point in that change because Americans use whatever in the same way we do. So the title still makes sense. So I don't know why you would change it to everything. I don't think that makes sense as a sentence, does it really? But regardless of their error, Billboard said they referred to Still Take You Home as angry garage rock guitars that set yet another unhappy scene. Turner is chatting up a potential hookup he has nothing in common with simply because she looks all right in the bar light. He's not proud of himself, but there's a job to do, and he intends to do it. Gigwise.com ranked the album tracks in 2016 and placed Still Take You Home at number 11, stating easily one of the best choruses on the album. It's got a short, sharp British punk energy, and again, Helders stands out as the music builds to create a frantic climax that will make you want to throw the furniture around. So that's the reviews. So should we move into discussing the music on this track?
Yes, do it, yeah.
I said it surprised me that this had low streaming numbers on Spotify, and it did, just because I've always seen this as, if not a classic, then certainly like a fan favorite, let's say, in my head. Maybe I'm way off on that, but I'd always thought it was that kind of track. So I was surprised that it had such, because it was only just a bit more than like last week's. You probably couldn't blah 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 blah. It's so I gotta say that again. It took me a lot of effort to get it right for a full hour and a half last week. I'm letting myself down now. But surprised me that it's not like greatly listened to, unless it's just on Spotify. Maybe it's greatly listened to on Apple Music. I don't know. Maybe it's maybe that's why everyone's listening to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I thought certainly in my head this is like one of the standouts of the album. It's up there with the rest. I know it's not like a famous track. Oh,
yeah, for years, this has been one of the tracks that I'd kind of go back and, when I'm not listening to an album in full, if I just wanted to pick a track, this is one of the ones that I'd pick to listen to. It has been for a long time. It's been a mainstay for me.
I guess if I take my own emotion away from it, and look at it from the outside, it's probably like from someone that's a fan but not as crazy in love. Just quoting everyone tonight. Now it's David Bowie. Now it's Beyonce. But
Going down.
going down, yeah. But yeah, maybe if I take it from that point of view, then it's probably like just beneath like a Fake Tales in like legendary status as an Arctic Monkey song, isn't it? Really, it's not one that people are going to the gigs going, "Oh God, I really wish they'd bring back Still Take You Home," like, you know what I mean? But so I guess it's just you got like Dance Floor and When the Sun Goes Down are in one stratosphere, and then like View from Fake Tales and that are maybe in a second tier, close, very close, and then this one would be maybe in the third tier, I guess, on its own though, because it's comparable with others because the rest I'd say are beneath it. But hey ho, the facts are in the streams, I guess. Maybe that's just us that have listened to it 44.5 million times in the past 20 years. I don't know. But yeah, any kind of initial thoughts on the music of this track?
It's once again, it's just a common theme. None of these tracks are letting up. I mean, obviously, we're going to get to next week, and that theme is going to be done. That theme's going to be done.
Brakes will be firmly on.
yeah, that's it. But no, this is an absolute belter. I love Jamie's rhythm work on this. As a band member who doesn't get the credit he deserves, his work with the rhythm guitar is fantastic on this track in particular. I think
we should make it a mission of this podcast. We're going to give everyone their dues, obviously, but we do talk a lot about Alex and Matt and Nick when he arrives in, and we've given Andy a fair few bit of dues so far. But I think we should make it a mission of ours to highlight Jamie in every track because he's an unsung hero, I think, of the band that gets a lot of unnecessary shit, I'd say. For no apparent reason. A lot of
unnecessary shit, but it doesn't bother us, does it?
It doesn't bother us, no. Calm down. Do what Dr. Feinberg told you. Do the breathing exercises. The breathing exercises on take one. Please turn over. Sod off. The rhythm guitar. It's funny you should say that. I actually thought the rhythm guitar is very strokesy again. I thought we said we hadn't come across many stroke styles at first, but then we kind of have had a couple now. Like this one and the last one are the ones where I've like really seen that, and it's hit me in the face. The Strokes' influence on you, probably, blah blah blah, and this one. The drums were also very Strokesy, I thought, like more so than others, because Helder's always. Something he said recently that I've never heard him say before, where he said back in his old drumming style, he used to purposely try and come up with bits that were irregular or not like what had been done before, and he tried to do things a bit different. And in this one though is the one where he's kind of it reminded me of like, do you know like the in your face drums of like Last Night or something like that, just like that. This one kind of, I know it's faster and stuff, but this one reminded me of that style in the verse and the choruses on Last Night with the drums that he's doing in this one. Reminded me of the old Strokes in a few different places.
Yeah, it's definitely in there, isn't it? Yeah, there's a lot of that on this album. I think it's like Strokes drums, but he's smacking them a lot harder, as if that was possible.
Yeah, I know. And then it's famously from Brainstorm from Favorite Worst Nightmare, I should say, when he said that he started actually hitting the drums more, and I was like, really? Okay.
Yeah.
He's a level up.
Well, that's what happens when you've got the money to replace them.
Well, I think he said that they saw the Queens of the Stone Age live, and he saw their drummer, who I've seen them live a few times, and I don't know, they sometimes change members, but he's huge. He's like this huge guy, and he makes the drum kit look like a little kid's drum kit under him, like like hitting him like, and it's insane. But yeah, you know what? That guitar in the opening, and the riff of the song, that was a sound that was very much like a Sheffield-esque sound, wasn't it? Like Milburn with Don't Send in the Boys and stuff. That kind of riff that Arctic Monkeys kind of had, but better versions of, let's say. But also, I think when I hear that is to go back to the whole Lars Ulrich that perhaps we should chat about, comment about them being a bit of a heavy metal band. It's also kind of like, I can see what he's saying, because that riff isn't a million miles away from like Enter Sandman. Do you know what I mean? If you just start it up and play it quicker, it's not. And somewhat like, I always thought, actually, and I'll say this now as just a little thing to get out loud because we're on the conversation. I always thought like the guitar at the start of My Propeller was very Enter Sandman-y, that like and someone's doing it, and there's this Yeah. So I do get when I hear this stuff, I do get exactly what you're saying about them having that little bit of. If you were into heavy metal and you heard the first album particularly and the intensity of it, that's just a similar vibe, isn't it? And that's Lars Ulrich saying it, not me, so no one can test it because the man's a heavy metal god, isn't he? So no one can have a go. That's Lars Ulrich saying it at last.
Oh my
But,
God. Honestly, this I spoke to before we started recording. This Lars Ulrich thing was a surprise to me. This was brand new information as far as I was
it's
concerned.
brand new information.
But it all makes complete sense. Notice I didn't say perfect sense then. You may have noticed.
You said it now, though. No, we've got to say. I don't think it should be song titles. I think that's too easy. It'll become apparent what we're talking about, hopefully, but it'll be too easy. It's got to be lyrics. Okay, that's all I'll say, Nick.
I think so as well. Apart from all those ones that you said deliberately to try and get me to use it, we'll just
I'm saying that now because that didn't work. I'm taking the high ground now because that didn't work. I'm above that, Nick. But unless it's like
what you're basically doing now is the equivalent of, I didn't want to shag her anyway.
A tactic that I did use on several occasions 20 years ago. So yeah. The although there are certain, maybe if you used when it's used in a sentence in the song, the title, we could allow that if the full thing's used in a clever way. But just saying like big ideas like I tried to earlier can't really go, he said a lyric. Just be saying big ideas, isn't it? But what I was going to say, and the last thing because you say you didn't know about it, and I remember it being a bit of a shock at the time when he said that to people. But I could completely get what he's saying, and I completely heard in the Rush song what he was getting at as well. But do you think that's what maybe Josh Homme heard too? Because I know Queens of the Stone Age aren't a heavy metal band, but that world. And I think is that what he saw in them as well? Is this? And he was like, yeah, this band rocks out. Let's get them to the desert. Especially
given like Josh Homme's done kind of like side projects and stuff that are a lot closer to heavy metal. I think so. I think he's got that in him. But yeah, absolutely, I agree 1,000,000% that I think this was the album that got Josh Homme onto him in the first place. I mean, there's elements of it on Favourite Worst Nightmare as well, but I think this album, I think he looked at this album and thought, I like these guys.
I don't think I could be wrong. What I always saw the timeline of events was because I think they've said they met him at a festival. They saw them probably that same gig, and I reckon maybe if he hadn't heard of them because they weren't, they were very big here, but maybe he didn't hear them at first, but maybe he saw them performing live at that festival and thought, oh, hang on, because they were intense live at the time. I actually remember the Reading Festival performance of Still Take You Home. I was watching it and my mum was in the room. I was like 15 and my mum was sat in the room. It was like a Friday night when it was on, and she looked up and she went, they play very fast, don't they? I was like, shut up.
Well, shut up, next week's guest sorted.
Shut up, you. But yeah, well, the legend goes apparently that they sent him the demo of Dance Little Liar, and he heard the first note that went down, and he stopped it and rang them up and said, I'll do it.
Brilliant.
That's the story I've heard.
Love
yeah.
That.
He went,
stopped it, like punched a photographer, and then phoned him. What, Josh?
Unsubstantiated claims for the liars. But very much agree with Lars. But this song is a good one for that to be discussed, I'd say. I mean, we've got to get to the breakdown, solo, a bit of both, isn't it, really? It's kind of a solo, funky little breakdown solo. Crazy good. Like,
yes.
So original for a band like this. Like, when had you heard something like that in this context before? Like this kind of band, and then just laying down like a little funky breakdown in the middle of it. Like, we talk about strange choices a lot. I think you said it for Fate Tales, for example. And what a weird thing to decide to do, but this is what makes the band is these little decisions that are a bit different. And you go, I wasn't expecting this song to just break down into a little funky solo in the middle of it by any stretch.
Yeah, but even not getting too far ahead of ourselves and getting onto the lyrics and stuff, but the whole da-da-da-da, which is like very, very northern. I don't know if we've talked about it today before, but when Lennon and McCartney first wrote "She Loves You," and they played it for, I think it was Paul McCartney's dad, and She Loves You, yeah, yeah, yeah. He's like, well, shouldn't it be She Loves You, yes, yes, yes? Yeah, that sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I saw that in that biopic they made about the Beatles, where Ed Sheeran helped them write some of the songs. I think it was a Danny Boyle biopic about the Beatles.
Could have been one.
But yeah, no,
can't him.
the drums in this breakdown as well are pure hip hop. Again, he's back on his hip hop game. The rhythm is, you know what it reminded me of, to go back to the Strokes, is Someday by the Strokes.
Yeah.
Ding ding, because it's got that guitar that comes in with the da 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 bit, actually. The in the background, that clean guitar reminded me of the ding 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 ding, you know, to go back to the Strokes. I just wanted to be one of the Strokes. Look at the mess you made.
I'm doing it. I'm pressing the alarm. I'm doing it because I can't. I've sat here for like half an hour having my finger over the lyric alarm, so it's happening. Oh, that's not overly long at all, is it?
Yeah, could have been a bit short. No, but we're going to use that whenever one of us says, that's a new feature. Whenever one of us says a lyric, which, as you'll know, we do quite frequently, slip a lyric in there. We'll use that. Probably my favorite pre-gig build-up to coming on stage. Although I did really like that AM. The
yeah. Before Glastonbury.
Yeah, that was actually, that's the best. That's chills, isn't it? I got chills, they're multiplying. Play the lyrics again. I said a lyric. It's got to be Arctic Monkeys, has it? The rules. Get your rule book out. Get your rule book out, Ricky.
Guilty.
But the you know, to say that obviously Strokesy with the guitar and then the lead and bass in this are just, as we said, with the lead, but give the bass its mention as well. Pure funk, pure just brilliant. But alas, as much as we do love this breakdown, there was a time live, I think it was around Suck It and See, an AM, that time. It is, because on the video that I saw, Alex has got his, I said Grease. I just sang a lyric from Grease, so yeah, his Grease look. They did a slightly different breakdown live for a long time, which you can hear now. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking before about how it was very probably born out, even though this was obviously added a few albums later, but kind of similar vibe to the Nettles, and I think you said Deframe 2R, was it? Very, very similar in the style of that, especially like even Jamie's like in the background is very like that Nettles, you know, that weird guitar that's the lead that's over the well, they're both lead, aren't they? That, you know what I mean, that word bit. But yeah, very enjoy that. I've heard that live a couple of times, and it's very enjoyable. But I remember my friend, who's a big Still Sit Home fan, when we saw them you were there at the Suck It and See gig that we went to, and they did that, and he was very upset because he really loves they did two things he didn't like at that gig, because they did a different version of This House Is a Circus at the time that we'll perhaps get to eventually, and he wasn't happy about that, and he wasn't happy about I just remembered at that gig they opened with Dance Little Liar. It was a strange opener, wasn't it?
Yeah. Weird time.
It was a weird time. They changed it, but I was very happy with it. I like that little additional rock out.
I would go as far as to say, in all the changes they've made to old songs, all the updates they've made, that might be my favourite. Although the version of Knee Socks that they've been doing recently at the earlier festivals before the release of the car, that is certainly the way it goes. Nisox kind of goes into this Queens of very Queens of Stone Age, actually. I thought
Very
I
quick.
thought
I've
Queens of Stone Age.
always, you know what? I've always thought Nisox was very Queens of the Stone Age and very. Sorry. I thought you were talking about Nisox. Sorry. Yeah, we'll get to that.
No, I am. I am. But we will get to that. But yeah, that's just as Nisox is close to rivaling it. But this is
yeah.
my favorite.
Well, Nisox is like Queens of the Stone Age album that they had around the end time, but Alex did a song on it. But maybe we'll discuss that one day. But
no, I mean the update.
You mean the update
is more Queens of Stone Age.
Oh right, okay. And this actually is quite Queens of the Stone Age. This in fact, actually. Oh, you've just taken me to something that I'd forgotten, which isn't the Nettles and that it reminds me of. So I don't remember if Josh Homme started a supergroup with the Led Zeppelin bass player, whose name escapes me.
Them Crooked Vultures.
Them Crooked Vultures, yeah. And they had a song called Elephants, which was my favorite song by them. I used to listen to it all the time. I used to play at the gym. And this is near enough the exact same riff as what Arctic Monkeys are playing. That even the oh yeah. Don't tell me Josh robbed it. I have seen. Actually, no, it doesn't sound. It's in the same world, but it's not a ripoff. But I have seen.
Probably wouldn't be the worst thing he's ever been accused of.
I saw them live once playing that. I saw them at Leeds Festival. Them Crooked Vultures. They were a surprise act, and they played Elephants. And the way that it was an amazing song to see them play live. The way he plays it. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, was that a hot take then? You had about?
I wouldn't say it's a hot take. No.
Well, I'm gonna say. Sorry, I thought you had a hot take about that clip. I thought you said you had a hot take about that clip. Did you not?
No, I just have an opinion. I don't think it's a hot take. No,
it's a warm opinion.
I mean,
yeah, no, I'd have to sit on that one because I'm trying to think what else they've updated that I like. But I'm enjoying some of the new updating, for example, on the car tour. So hold that thought. I'd say particularly the Four Stars Out of 5. I mean, in that video that we saw on YouTube of 4 Stars Out of 5, that would be. I'd love to hear that intro to that live. That would be incredible. But yes, I think you're on something there. I think I can't think of many more that have changed that are so different.
I did have a list, but I don't have it to hand right now. But I'll get it for next week.
You know, it reminds me. I do remember of seeing a gig once where they opened with "When the Sun Goes Down" intro. That girl there, and then they stopped at the end of that bit, and they went into Brainstorm, and then halfway through the gig, they just kicked in with "When the Sun Goes Down." Great, what a move! But yeah, back to "Still Take You Home." The music, yeah, like we said, the drums hip hop, but I think again the lead. We said it's weird because I said it was very much reminding me of something like Enter Sandman, but on the other end of the spectrum, I'd also say you take that down, like we said last week with You Probably blah blah blah. The down and you take that, you make it a slightly different sound, slow it down, and you could have "Why'd You Only Call Me When You're High" vibes again. That kind of you could have a little rap song over that, couldn't you? Yeah, rhythm again. Like really, really love particularly in the final part of the song. It's funny you mentioned Queens of Stone Age because it reminded me of No One Knows. Near the end of this song, do you know what I mean? That way it goes out. When it comes back in, you're a fad, you're a fashion, and it kind of does the yeah. The clean guitar though, the whoa whoa whoa, did remind me today when I was listening to it. A little bit of an off the cuff thought. Reminded me of the next track we're going to cover, and made me wonder if that's where that was born. Because it's like down. Get out a bit slower. Yeah, get a little bit of Riot Van in there, maybe. Well,
yeah, that's definitely there. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Did you? So yeah, I think music. Thank you. My life is complete. Yeah, the music on this, I just think. The fact that we can even talk about heavy metal influences, hip hop influences, rap, indie, The Strokes, Queens of the Stone Age. We're talking about all these different things for just one 3-minute track or whatever is incredible, really. That we can talk about all those influences being in there and how apparent they are when we actually think about it as well. So yeah,
and this is songs that we kind of at the start we kind of set up that these songs are reasonably basic. especially in comparison to the stuff that follows. But it just goes to show, even the most basic of stuff can have so much stuff to pick out of it. Like, the amount of influences we've picked out is ridiculous.
I mean, if we can get like an hour and 20 out of these songs, then I think we might be on a 4-hour podcast by the time we get to Tranquility.
Yeah. I think it's going to be like 2 parts for each song.
The shake of the maracas, it reminded me of that one shake of the maracas in the background. Reminded me of this song by Barry Manilow.
I mean, when we get to 4 out of 5, we're going to be here all night because there's there's a lot going on there. Yeah,
gushing. And sounded weird, that gushing. No, nothing sexual. That's not what it means. But yeah, I'm happy with the music. I think we've given the influence there, and I think we need to get on to the lyrics. So this song absolutely describes girls that were in the clubs we frequented at the time down to a T. The fake tan. I can't say enough about how much the line "You're a Topshop princess and a rockstar too" describes the style at the time. Like, they were just 10 a penny. And you can picture that look of the girl that was like half.
It's very much my type.
It was that look of the top. I had an ex that you knew who dressed in a similar way, where it was this kind of the top trippy clothes, but then they'd throw all this emo-y stuff on top
makeup.
of it. Yeah, and all that kind of stuff. So it was just, and that line just summed that up completely. Like, that was the look of the time. You couldn't encapsulate that any better. It's like it's preserved in a museum, that moment now, because of this song.
Yeah. This is once again, like, obviously I said on the first introductory episode, I said that this was my favorite album, and once again this song showcases why, because it just takes me back to a moment in time. It just takes me back to being in the middle of the dance floor at Fifth Ave and just looking around, and it's mad. It's mad that I can just go right back there.
Yeah, I think I said, even though this isn't my favorite album, it's and I'd struggle to think of where to put this when eventually we finish everything and then we have to kind of order them because it might change. But it's definitely my favorite, not just Arctic Monkeys nostalgia album. It's my favorite nostalgic album of all time. It's that one album that just takes me back to that time, and it could almost be a historical document. This album of what it was like in 2000. So anyone says, "What was it like in 2000?" If I had wanted kids, and I was a granddad, so what was it like in 2004 and 2006, granddad? I'd say, well, get the earphones out. Well, get the whatever it will be then. Get the chip.
QR code on the side of your head sign.
And let's go back. But yeah, if anyone that doesn't,
Gareth, go and get the microchip.
Get the laser gun. We're going. Yeah, no. For anyone that doesn't know, Topshop is a British fashion brand for women's clothing, shoes, and accessories. It was part of the Arcadia Group, controlled by Sir Philip Green, but went into administration in late 2020 before being purchased by ASOS on the 1st of February 2021. It now operates via the ASOS website and app, as well as being sold in Nordstrom stores in the US and Canada, and at Nordstrom.com. Don't know why I'm advertising for them like that, but at its height though, back then, Topshop did have 510 shops worldwide.
Is also an offshoot of Top Man, which is where you purveyors of clothing for the discerning gentleman who wanted to get with a Topshop princess.
Yes, I mean, if we're talking about that line, Topshop Princess and Rockstar 2 being the Top Shop one, then the Top Man look was very much what a picture that we tweeted out, perhaps.
We found some pictures
ago about Nick. Yeah, one of them was from my mum's wedding. That one, which was funny to think.
Yes, it was. Yeah, that's right. I was sick that night.
Now divorced. So that was.
I'm not taking the blame for that.
Ooh, I don't know. Moments in time. So a little bit of history on Topshop, I think, is no, but Top Man, we're in Top Man. Top Man was like and then I started to be like purposely not go in there at a certain point. I started rejecting it because it was not cool anymore. It was kind of like,
Alex wouldn't want me to go here.
That was it. Yeah, started going in trendy I mean, I always think, like a vintage clothes shop, it's just a charity shop, innit? But they just put the prices up and it doesn't go to charity. It doesn't go to charity. You start going in vintage shops and buying like Harrington jackets that someone's died in and going, oh yeah, lovely, 50 quid, yes, no problem. Get it from a quid normally. But yeah, no, this song as well, end of what I'd call the lyrical trilogy of Dancing Shoes, You're Probably Blah Blah Blah, and this in all, I've said it for those two and this one, they all in that same world. Narratively, in all three, he's played the sneery commentator who admits that he's part of the problem too by the end of it. In all three, he's wanting to pull someone, and all three remind me of my own headspace back then too, as well. So it's a trilogy of my toxic masculinity. Years ago. Is what you might call it. Actually, no, I'm not going to call it that. I'm going to call it horny teenage hormones. Horny teenage hormones, not toxic. Toxic masculinity. If I was still like that now, that would be toxic masculinity. If I was still like that guy, but I'm not. I'm very lovely. It sounds like I'm like single and I'm trying to get women to like me. But
imagine the Ultra Cheese had come out at that point, and it was what are you crying for? What are you crying for, you loser? That would have been toxic masculinity.
It is funny those changes in how people are now, like young people. I saw a clip the other day of a guy. It was a band who wanted to do a cover of doing a cover of like it's gone. It's a band, a punk band. They do loads of covers themselves. Famously, they do like Beverly Hills. That's Weezer. They wanted to do a Weezer cover of Teenage Dirtbag, and it was like fail. So I was like, oh god,
I'm gonna stop you there, mate, because Teenage Dirtbag is actually by Weezer, so not Weezer.
You know what's funny? I have a funny story about that, but I'll tell that in a minute. It wasn't even Teenage Dirtbag; it was a Weezer song. But anyway, I've got a funny story about that in a minute. A weird story. I'll tell that. But it was like this fail. So I was like, oh, this would be funny. And it was in a whole school auditorium, and like they went to play, and the keyboard just collapsed. The whole song they couldn't play, and I was waiting, and I was like, oh, they're gonna get ripped. Like when I was at school, you'd never hear the end of that. And then because it's 2022, all the kids were like, oh, and started clapping them, and I was like, fucking hell, I was a kid. That would have stayed with you for your whole life, and you'd be that kid that fucked up the song in front of the whole school, and you'd be bullied.
We had a talent show in it must have been about 14, 15, so towards the end of secondary school or high school, and a friend of mine got up with his guitar. A friend of mine got up with his guitar and did a cover of 8 Days a Week by the Beatles. And he never heard the end of it. And it was a very good cover, and he just never heard the end of it. So if someone had knocked the keyboard over before playing a note, whoa,
was that Tom?
That's the head down the toilet. No. Oh no, Tom doesn't play the guitar. No, Tom just sneers at people. Tom just sneers at other people who are enjoying themselves.
Yeah, I remember now. My story on that was, so I went to a festival where Weezer were playing, and I thought it was Wheatus that were playing. It was Leeds Festival actually, and we got like really high, and I was like, I'm gonna hear Teenage Dirtbag. So we get there and we realize it's Weezer, and we go, oh fucking hell. And then Weezer did a cover of Teenage Dirtbag. It was the strangest. I was like, what is going on? Either that or all the drugs, and I was just actually laying a field, like passed out, and nothing happened. I don't know. It was one of them. But something happened. But yeah, what a funny story. More of those next week.
Funny story.
News. This song is the same lyrical idea as "Fit But You Know It" by The Streets, mentioning The Streets again. Exact same, really, innit? Still take it home.
The Weezer set list for that gig. I've checked the Weezer set list for that gig, and you're indeed right. They did cover Teenage Dirtbag. What's going on with the world?
The drugs haven't caught up with me yet. But yes, same idea as "Fit By You Know It," but The Streets, wouldn't you? Song that sounds like "You're fit, but you know it," and this song is basically "You fit, but I still take you home." So same real content there by them. But Alex's lyrics are better. Because than that, I'd say, than just fit, but you know it. Much more clever.
I'll stop sharking a minute to get chips and drink.
Oh god, but yeah, I always thought the fancy seeing you in here, you're all tarted up and you don't look the same, was in stark contrast to Dance Floor, because the idea in that is I've seen you in a shop and I bet you look great, like made up and out, but in this one it's like, I've seen you out and you tied up and you don't look like you normally do, and it's putting me off. So that's kind of funny. It's kind of the two different scenarios there, isn't it? And this obviously was a story that Jamie had. So Jamie must have had a girl that was pretending not to like him, but she did like him, and he was.
Why would you do that?
And he was like, Alex, I'm she's fit, but she's a bit annoying, but I think I'll still take her home. I'll take her home, Alex.
She's got one of them bum.
She's got one of those bum chins to like me, myself, and Irene. I heard an interview of Ref in the video on YouTube. I'll have to try and put it on the socials where it was Matt and Jamie giving the interview, and Jamie was actually really talking quite a lot and really into it. And I was like, bloody hell, someone's had some coke. I don't know. It was like, I've never heard him speak before, like in that much detail about the songs and that. And he was laughing and he was quite like charming and amusing. He doesn't normally get wheeled out. Alex must have had like a stomach bug or something. I don't know, because they let him out to an interview. Oh, another thing this week that happened was Mr. Nick O'Malley playing the drums to a hip hop song in a bar in Paraguay. Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
I love how it was. I love how
never knew
Helders
I
was
needed.
there. Yeah, I love how Helders was there, but
Yeah.
Nick was like, "Hold my beer."
I've got this.
Yeah.
I'll have this one. Thank you very much.
I did want to explain to people that might not know slang tart, and I'm going to explain it using a few of my favorite entries that I found on Urban Dictionary. So I want you to imagine that I'm Susie Dent from Countdown. Okay, so this was what first entry. It's just for me that as well. That you just took your top off because no one else can see
That's
it.
just what I always imagine myself doing if I was alone with Susie Dent.
I'll clip it up. A tart is a female who is attractive and has the air of being promiscuous, even if she isn't. A girl likely to get disapproving looks from old people. In short, a tart is more of a tease and a flirt than, say, a whore, skank, or slut. All of those words imply putting out, whereas tart may or may not have a lot of random sex. This person says if you could use it in a sentence, a grandma might say, Jeff, your new Millie is a little tart. Don't know why they're American. Don't know why that's happening. But it's happening. Jeff, your new Millie is a little tart. And then Jeff might retort, whatever, grandma. You're only saying that because she doesn't look like Plurden. Not what she is. Another entry is a nubile young temptress who dresses teasingly and provocatively. And my favorite entry on Urban Dictionary for the explanation of a tart is quite simply a delicious cream or jam-filled treat or a prostitute. One of them. It's one of them.
Same thing.
Yeah, well,
Surely.
in Manchester. Using a sentence would be, they suggest, I could sure go for a tart right now. So that could be pastry or sexual, I suppose, or both, as you say. So yeah, that's tart for anyone that didn't know. And for the US listeners that might not have known that, I did it in your language so that you would know. Language.
It's our language, mate.
I did it in your native tongue so that you would know. You know what the part about the game, the song that it made me think about, like the games we play, particularly back then when you're trying to get with someone. So like, last week we were saying about backing up on a girl and like in the dance floor and all that stuff. But in this one, he's kind of remarking sarcastically on her pretending to forget his name. So she's like, she really knew it, but she's saying she didn't know it as like a power play. She don't want to give the goose away. Give the goose away. But I'm about 80 out. You like them?
I'm ashamed to say that I've done that. I'm ashamed to say
What,
that
give the goose away?
I've done it. Well, many times Christmas. No. When there is like a girl that you like, but you're kind of like playing hard to get.
Yeah.
You're right,
girls do it a lot better.
Actually, it's Jen. Whatever.
Yeah. And girls do it a lot better than guys, though. Girls pull it off, whereas guys can't
Girls
pull it
do
off
everything than guys.
because we're too desperate to get a shag, basically. So we won't be able to pull it off. But girls can take it, I'll leave it. So take it, I'll
Girls do
leave it.
everything.
Just take it, I'll leave it. Arctic Monkey's covered that. It's technically a lyric. Oh God. Definitely.
Girls
could be
do
half a long
everything.
time.
Girls do everything better than guys, including pulling it off.
I contest that, actually. I think you like your own, don't you? But you, with that song, you like them, but you don't want them to know you like them. But what you want is for you both to understand that you like each other, so that you can get off of each other, and we all do it, eh? So this, what an experience the Cookie Monster had, eh? Must have been quite the evening for him.
He's lived quite the life, hasn't he?
Oh, he has. Yeah, he has. What's his? Well, we don't talk about personal things, but yeah, as I said before, he is married to a page-free stunner. Now we do have a clip. I did want to play a clip of the Beneath the Boardwalk version of this track. So someone goes when the drums stop there at the beginning. Someone goes, "Oh!" Like a kind of like in Afternoon Delight there. Ooh. But it's I reckon it were Helders. I've got my money on Helders. Like he throws the drumstick in a twirl in the studio and catches it, and you're like, "Ooh," like that. But this is very different. Like the way Alex sings it is so in the Beneath the Boardwalk pseudo American style where he was still learning it, and this was like 2005, so it wasn't far off when they recorded the album. So I don't know what kind of happened in that time for him to change up his vocals so much, but I can only assume it was just practicing, and he maybe internally thought, I don't want to be doing this American sound. I want to maybe John Cooper Clarke inspired him to do it in his native,
more comfortable in his own skin and stuff as well.
Yeah,
More
confidence and deciding to do that because it isn't far off when they record. Well, it was about a year or so, I guess, and they probably gigged a lot in that time, so that was probably brought the confidence in it and stuff. So yeah, the guitar sounds very different in this version as well, and they put the breakdown solo is repeated several times, so it's like they do it after the first chorus and then they do it again when they normally do it. Yeah, so it's weird. But I reckon Jim Abyss put his foot down in the studio and said, "Guys, we need to." Yeah, well, I don't know what that fucking prick was doing. I can't keep doing it. Lovely man, what a lovely man he is. Name dragged through the mud. I'd love to get him on, but like tell him beforehand that I'm going to be a dick to him as in like character and see if he's up for it. That'd be funny, wouldn't it? To his face. But I reckon because you think about it, if you put that breakdown there after the second verse, it really takes out the momentum the song's got of being so fast. So if you put that little breakdown there, then you go back in fast, it doesn't really quite have the same gelling. So I can see why they brought it into a kind of more.
It is succinct. Like really jarring. It's very jarring when you listen back to it now because you're so.
It is because you know it's so well.
Version.
Yeah, I mean that thing we were saying again about them doing things that are a little bit different. You wouldn't expect that there, and things like that. And I remember someone saying to me once that I like it, but they didn't. You remember in Leave Before the Lights Come On, it kind of stops and goes ding 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 on just one guitar, and then comes back. Yeah. Like those are the kind of things that you don't hear very often. That are really cool, and whether you like it or not, it's still them experimenting again with sound, as they're still doing to this very day. Now, there are some very different lyrics in this Beneath the Boardwalk version. So he says in the opening, he says, "Oh, spending all your money." No, I'm going to sing it. He says, "Oh, spending all your money on trendy haircuts that you read were cool," and then obviously changed it to a much better lyric, I'd say. What I saw it as, because there's another one where he writes, he changed it. He says, "You sold your soul to the fashion. Yeah, you're a Topshop princess, a rock star too, but where's the love and the passion? Oh, I suppose that's nothing to do with you." And what that says to me is that he matured as a lyricist very quickly, because he identified that they were like not brilliant lines, are they? They're not like the lyricist of a generation lines. They're like just what you maybe would expect. Like we said about the Streets version, like you might hear that kind of line in there and think that it's not a bad line, but not up on that tier of lyricist god where Alex sits currently. But then to change it to like to sort of much better, like way stronger lyrics. I'm trying to that "you sold your soul to fashion" is a particular line that really jarring now to think of Alex writing a line like that. "You sold your soul to fashion," like making it almost not political but sneery, like that. You know what I mean? Not it's not what the song's about, and I think he probably realized that and changed it to the much better lines that replaced it. But yeah, but that's a brilliant. The brilliance of somebody is to be able to see that isn't strong and change it to something better. That's half the job, isn't it? If you can't recognize that, then you'll never progress, I would say. And do you have any sort of cop thoughts on any more of the lyrics?
Is this the point where we get to our favourite lyrics?
I'll let you go first because I always pinch yours. So.
Too busy with the mind on clever lines.
So yeah, going back to the theme that is going to pop up a depressing amount while we're doing this album in particular of my old MSN screen names. Yes, listeners, we are going back to Nick's desperate attempts to woo
the last one was
princesses.
So the first if you remind people from the first episode, was from waving back to the train on the bus, and it was.
I can see you want to be attended to. Just count to 29, and I'll attend to you because I was definitely
Oh,
capable
for
of
sure.
that at that age.
Absolutely.
In this case, as you would expect, it is,
You wouldn't
I
get to
fancy you with a passion,
29.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have got that far in it at that age.
No.
Count to 3.
No. I think 2.9 would have been a push. So yeah, rather predictably, my favourite is I fancy you with a passion. You're a Topshop princess, a rock star too, and I can almost remember my MSN password just from hearing that particular lyric. Yeah, it's so on the nose. It really is.
Well,
And as Alexis said in interviews, it was just kind of him just like looking at stuff and going, look at that, look at that, look at that. But it was spot on.
But he's being modest because people can do that. Look at that, look at that. It's like you could take someone like Peter Kay that does that, for example, and then you could take another comedian so every comedian kind of does that. If you take sort of a I don't know, a darker comedian or something like a Jim Jeffries or something like that, they're doing that same thing of looking at something, but they're not just saying it and not just relaying something that isn't like that spectacular, but they're taking it and they're twisting it and making it into something more like, about the human condition or something. And Alex is doing something here where he could just say, like, he could have said something really basic about that girl that you see then, like we described her as like, with emo-y makeup and stuff like that, and we still would have known it. But the Topshop Princess or Rockstar 2 is just, you just don't come up with that unless you've got an amazing brain for poetry and lyrics. And we all know that girl, as we said before. And like I said before, I just think this album is a historical document, and this is one of those historical document moments. Not a great moment. I don't think it's a time. There was a time in history. Yeah, very good. I don't think it's a time in history that many people will be getting the history books open to in about 100 years. Like, 2004, 2006, what was going on then? But nevertheless, this would be where you go.
We're doing it now.
Yeah, we're a historical document now.
Yeah. I've been called worse.
Unless Domino starts their own official one.
Oh.
Don't listen to it. Stay with us.
We're here, lads. Just give us a call.
What are those suits going to talk about? We know the score. We're punk. Well, my favorite lyric is actually different to yours. So mucho gracias. Now I'm cool. So my favorite lyric is not that. I just said that and then went off on a tangent. So my favorite lyric isn't mucho gracias. Cool.
I was going to say, is that from the Boardwalk version?
It's from the car. It's after the Sleepy Amigos bit. Well, it's ever so funny because I don't think you're special. I don't think you're cool. You're just probably all right. But under these lights, you look beautiful. Which is actually the lines that replace the spending all your money on trendy haircuts that you read were cool. So, well, it's ever so funny because I don't think you're special. I don't think you're cool. That's such a great line. And then just to rhyme and just the way that beautifully rhymes with and as a structured sentence, you're just probably all right. But under these lights, you look beautiful. Again, I've said it before. If somebody went to a poetry evening and read that, and it was kind of, beat poetry or something, and you're just probably all right, but under these lights you look beautiful. Absolutely. And so true again. Like that was just like the girl, like if the lights come up they probably are just all right, but again under these lights you look beautiful. And also a kind of masked way of saying beer goggles. I think it's a way of saying beer goggles, but he's using the lights rather than the obvious way of talking about the booze.
Just noticed something there, but lights are another very common theme. You probably couldn't see for the lights. Under these lights, you look beautiful. Leave before the lights come on.
Lights are a big part of your youth, Nick. I mean, they're a big part of every part of your life. So in my head, that was a really profound statement until I realised that lights are just generally part of your life. But yeah, if you're writing an album about like going out in the evening, the lights are there, aren't they? Those lights. There's
that was like one of them rickety bridges in Indiana Jones, where they kind of get halfway across. And like, I'm not going to make it.
Well, there is a light that never goes out in all of us, Nick.
There is.
We're playing the buzzer for Smith's lyrics. I think Arctic Monkeys covered it, didn't they? No, I'm joking. Yeah, just a perfect piece of poetry and rhyme. I love that. So should we do our favorite musical moments?
Favorite musical moments.
Mad sounds in your ears. They make you get up and dance. They make you get up.
It's mine is we've already talked about it, so there isn't much to go into it. It's just the breakdown solo again. Like it's the best part of the song for me in the terms of musically. Just so unexpected, so funky, so cool. Again, just a little dancing moment. Doesn't get much better than that in this track, I would say personally.
Mine is either tied with that or just the riff. Just generally the riff. I love that riff.
Great
It's
riff.
probably one of my favourites on the album, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it lives in that world of Old Yellow Bricks, Teddy Picker, Fake Tales, Still Take You Home.
Yeah.
A lot of Favourite Worst Nightmare, actually. B-sides. Like we said, The Nettles, To Frame 2R. Probably loads more. Temptation. And then I remember when I first... And then for Humbug, I would say they're doing those riffs still, but they're just differently put together. So like Crying Lightning or My Propeller are still that kind of riff. They're just slower and they're done differently. They're still doing that was their thing, wasn't it? So yeah, they still kept that, but they've changed it. I don't think they do it as much obviously now, but I reckon the instruments are much more layered now, aren't they? So if they are doing stuff like that in a different way, you probably don't hear it as much. But that is the backbone of this song, isn't it? That riff, really. That's what you remember when you think "Still Take You Home." You think "down straight away in your head." So, yes, a song I would like them to bring back. It's one of the ones I'd like them to bring back. Yeah, I'd hear it again, and they did bring it back. Like I said last time, 2012, but they didn't play it for a bit, and then I think it came back for "Suck It and See." Would fit in with AM time, and would probably fit in now. It's easy to slot in because it's like A View from the Afternoon, isn't it? It's a song that doesn't just exist on this album. It can work alongside other tracks like Brian Storm and stuff like that. So, Pretty Visitors.
I was actually just about to launch a hot take and say this is the song I'd most like to see them bring back from this album, but then I just remembered the track listing. And I was like, no, you're right, that's fine. There's others that have before this.
There's one very specific track that you would want to hear before this one, that we'll get to. We'll get to in a few weeks, but
I was kind of like thinking in my head, and I was like thinking on from this track. I was like, Riot Van, Red Light Indicates Doors Secured, and I was like, oh yeah. The songs after that,
I would go apeshit if we went to see them in June and they cracked out Riot Van with like an orchestra, or like the makeshift orchestra that they have, the two guys and the keys do. I'd go mental. It would be amazing. Just because that'll never happen. But yeah, I don't have a hot take either for this one. There's no hot take sprung to mind this week.
There's no hot takes to be had.
I could say something mad like, it's the best song about. I mean, very specific. The best song about seeing a girl, she's annoying, but you shag her anyway. I guess that could be the best song about that, and I wouldn't know any others apart from Fit But You Know It about that. So maybe that's it. Yeah, play the hot take jingle. Go on. Nah, we'll have a hot take this week.
Retroactively.
And we can't have a hot take every week. That would be mental. Even though we have had
boiling.
It would be boiling point. But yeah, I just to sum up this song, it's got some of the best lyrics again on the album. It's really good live as well. We mentioned, but really good song to hear live. Just a really good tune, really solid end of that trilogy. That little we're moving past the night out segment of the album, and we're moving into the next track's a bit of a way away from it, but we're moving into the end of the evening on your way home portion of the album, aren't we?
It all kind of changes from here on in.
Although apart from one track brings it back to the beginning of the evening, which is interesting. But anyway, you'll get there. I was speaking cryptically, even though they all know. But I don't know what we're talking about. But yeah, no, great track. Very much enjoyed talking about it.
I have as well. I always enjoy talking about stuff with you, whether it's Arctic Monkeys or
Ah,
not. So that's
that's
nice.
very
And
romantic.
hopefully that comes across to the listeners. And if it does come across to the listeners, then don't forget to go in the episode
Well-
description and follow us on all our things. It's really appreciated. And of course, you can email us, as many people do. We'll be doing a correspondence special in a few weeks after the end of this album. To wrap things up, we'll be reading some of the emails, and the emails come to arcticmonkeyspodcast@gmail.com. Thought I'd leave a gap
Yeah.
there, just
Absolutely.
keep people guessing.
Keep it guessing.
People are like,
keep 'em
not
wondering.
what, Nick?
Just a little impulse. They think they'll be like, my phone's died. No, it's just a
Yes,
ploy.
no. I won't be able to email those two weirdos now.
Yeah. Next week, we've kind of already revealed what we're doing, aren't we? I suppose. But smash a window, loot a TV, down some booze, set off a flare, and kick someone's face in. And you better do it pretty bloody quickly, because here comes the riot van, and it's going to spark some excitement in these two boys on this podcast. I can tell you that.
Oh, is it? I just live for the bit where you introduce it. I don't care about any of the stuff that's gone before. I just live for the bit where you introduce the following.
I do put a lot of thoughts into it. I listen to the track ahead of time and go, okay, what's the best route into this? Other options I had were what was it? There was another one. Oh no, I thought of the spark excitement in later, so I shoehorned it into that bit. I thought, oh yeah, spark excitement. But yes, yeah, very excited about this one. Very excited. It's the first slow track we've got to cover of all, because there was none on Boardwalk either. So
no, it's the first one, isn't it? Yeah, it's going to be an
one.
interesting change of pace next week.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. I'm enjoying it, and to hear it live, because not one you get live very often. So to hear a little live clip of it would be bloody lovely.
I think I might just start searching for that now.
I know of one, so I'll tell you.
I think I've got a couple in my YouTube history somewhere.
They're all out there. They're all out there somewhere. I'm interested to see if we can get a live version of Sticking to the Floor and stuff when we get to the B-sides. Well, that'll be another story. Might have to risk the copyright on that one. Might have to risk the copyright on that one. Don't think it's going to be there.
I think we may well do.
There wasn't even any mobile phones back then properly, so there won't even be footage like that of it.
Yeah, nothing. God, I've just if it wasn't brought home to me enough every week just how big a job we've signed up for here, then
it's very exciting, though, isn't it?
That's what it's very exciting.
It's exciting to know whether we'll complete the discography before one of us dies. Is my main thought. Like, will we get there before one of us dies? And the other one,
it'll probably be me.
I mean, I think you got 2 years on me, but I don't think that's much to. If you're thinking that you've led more of a health, if you think that you've led a less healthy lifestyle than me, let me tell you, you ain't.
I'll end up getting prostate cancer or something. It'll be something like that.
Very specific. Yeah, I'm convinced. Let's not get into that. We sound like old men. Cut this out. This is depressing.
yeah.
I'm left on a high. I just did a really good intro. Bomb everyone out. But,
oh god.
But yeah.
Well, that just about wraps things up, I think, doesn't it? We have been Nick and Dan. We have been Don't Believe the Hype, and we'll probably continue to do that because we've signed up to it now. That's it. Until Domino ring us and say, look, lads, we'll chuck a shitload of cash at you to license your show for our own ends. Because they've got Domino have got a Franz Ferdinand podcast on the go. So
yeah, I'm hoping
I don't think there's as much to say about Franz Ferdinand as there is about
I don't know how you get much out of that, but yeah, I don't know how you're getting much out of that. But hopefully they'll look into whether there's any ones existing already. They'll hear us, see how brilliant we are, and just say, can we pay you two to host it and make it the official one? That would be lovely. Although they might try and censor us, Nick. Might try and censor us. Say you can't say that swear word or that and all this nonsense. And I'll say, put an extra note on the check and you've got a deal.
But they're not going to censor me, the big poo heads. Ooh.
No, they can buy me at a very specific price. And it ain't that much.
Yeah, it's very specific and very low. Yeah. Oh, God. Excellent. Right.
It's £505.
Oh,
and there's a decimal point in there somewhere.
the alarm is not.
No, I'm not allowed it. Not allowed it for titles. Not allowed it for titles.
Oh God! Right, say goodbye to the nice people, Dan.
Goodbye.
Bye. Don't Believe the Hype is hosted and produced weekly by Nick Lee and Dan Holt. Music used in the titles is royalty-free music courtesy of Les FM. Don't forget to subscribe on your podcast player of choice to be notified every Wednesday when a new episode is released. And if you want to help us out further, be sure to like and review to help make us more visible to like-minded souls. We will see you next week with more of the same.